The circus is the most well-oiled machine that you could imagine.
Welcome to Psychology. Today's guest is Mark Gindick. Mark is one of the few artists who have completed the trifecta of Circus, designing original material for and touring with Ringling Brothers, Big Apple Circus, and Circus Olay. Mark, thanks so much for joining us today.
Hey, Stickology.
You and I have known each other for a long time, and I have a lot of respect for the craft of what you do, the attitude you bring to work every single day. And I think there's so many parallels with how the entertainment world and other industries could and should run their businesses. I have a whole lot of questions for you, Mark, and there are no wrong answers, except for the ones that you give. So let's get started. As a lead performer for some of the biggest circuses in the world, you've helped create shows that most could only dream of. What are the key differences you've observed between a company's public reputation and its internal culture? How does the culture behind the scenes directly influence the magic that the audience experiences?
That's a great question. So each show that I've worked for is completely different. From the outside, they're all just super impressive. Wow, spectacle, performances, people doing amazing things with their bodies. And internally, they're also equally impressive. And what's interesting is like there's that trope in the world, like in everyday culture, when like kind of in politics or anything like this, where it's like, ah, man, that thing was like a circus. Oh, how is that? How is that? Your experience at the mall? That was like a circus. Well, like it has kind of like a negative connotation where it's like sounds messy and horrible rather than it's quite the opposite. Like the circus is the most well-oiled machine that you could imagine. I mean, just for the infrastructure of setting something like this up in a very confined space, in a very confined amount of time, and then giving one of the most moving performances that you may see. So there's a lot of collaboration and a lot of teamwork that would go into any of these circuses. What's interesting is, I'm a clown, so my role in these three different circuses in particular, along other circuses and shows, can be very different. For example, one show I can just go in and just be almost like scenery. I'm holding a sign or something and waving and taking pictures, part of this giant pageantry, and not much artistic gratification for me, although I'm part of this machine. Um, Other shows, I'm much more respected as an artist because when you have a voice, something that you have something to say, that's when I think people are interested in what you have to say rather than just putting on a costume and waving and taking pictures.
You've worked with a variety of director types in the entertainment world. What patterns do you see in the way that they share their vision and they foster a shared purpose among cast and crew members?
In my experience, the best directors that I've had are the ones that realize that they need you as much as you need them. I strongly believe that in any industry, in my humble opinion, you can't do it yourself. You need a team. And if you think you can do it yourself, good for you. But the product that you come up with is not going to be as strong as when you collaborate with other voices that are experts in their field, right? Say you know how to play the guitar, right? I can play the guitar pretty well, but are you going to compose an amazing piece of music? No, you're a director who knows how to play the guitar, but you need a specialist to be able to compose a piece of music. Just like clowning, just like comedy. Everybody can tell a joke, at the Thanksgiving dinner and get a nice couple laughs, at the table. But are you an expert in that field enough to then apply that to a product that people are paying hundreds of dollars to come see and really deliver something special? Most directors, in my humble opinion, use the other artists in kind of like a stone soup sort of way. They are the chef. They add the ingredients. Hey, I'm going to take some of this. I'm going to take some of that. They're going to all stir it together, and here is your beautiful stone soup. And they know how to get those people together and ask the right questions and engage those people in the right way that make the most beautiful, delicious stone soup.
As an entrepreneur, I've been lucky enough to hire a lot of people who know a lot more than me. And I learn from each of them almost every single day. Yeah.
When I build one of my one man shows, I'm hiring musicians and I'm hiring lighting designers, and I love being the dumbest person in the room because they make me look good.
Yeah. Switching gears, professional performing organizations tour all over the world. I know you've toured several continents. Given their diverse audiences and diverse cast members, what do these companies learn about building cohesive cultures?
The great part of the circus, one of the great parts of the circus is that you already in the structure of the show itself have people from all over the world and different cultures. So just in the DNA of what you're presenting, those cultures are already in that product. And then so when you go into these other markets, you're more nimble and flexible to provide for that market because you understand, hey, I pivot with culture. Culture is part of what we do.
I believe people are more successful when they're surrounded by people who are smarter, more creative, more innovative, and come from different cultures. It sounds like many of the productions you've been part of have benefited from people who bring all these things to the table.
Absolutely. And what's interesting is, a lot of us when we come together into the show, into this common goal of performing this thing 8 to 10 times a week, are we're building a family outside of our family. Often the times we have to leave our real families to go and do these shows, and we make a new family. Now, this new family, this circus family, is built from people all over the world. And so, yeah, you bicker, you love, you admire, you do all those same things that you do within your family, but then also bridging and transcending all different cultures, melding it together. One of my favorite things to do when I was on the Big Apple Circus is that we all lived in trailers back behind the tent. Really nice, like movie style sort of trailers. And almost every night there'd be a barbecue. And, people from their culture would be barbecuing, cooking up their style of cuisine. And not only are you then being forced to then like uh, be cohesive and eat together, but you're also tasting their food. You're tasting their culture. You're part of their family. And when you start doing that, the bond that you will create with these people are so strong that when you then that's what the audience is responding to, right? Like you may do the most amazing tricks in the world in the ring, but what you're really responding to when you see a great circus show is that family bond that's built there that you can't explain. You can't see it. It's not tangible, but you can feel it,
Yeah.
you know? Yeah.
In any relationship, personal or professional, trust is critical. What do great performing organizations do on a regular basis to help foster and build trust? I mean, you have people who are on the front lines performing, or you have people who are in the air who want to know that they're going to get caught. What do these organizations do to help ensure that people support each other and that people feel supported?
You're just seeing the surface of it, right? You're just seeing you as the audience member who comes see these shows, or just seeing the two trapeze people that fly to the air, and you have to trust that person to catch you. And then, but what about the people that are setting up the actual trapeze themselves? You have to trust that those riggers are putting the trapeze in the right places, that they're not going to fall down, pull the tent down, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So part of the tradition of these shows is there's so many levels of people checking things over and over and over again in a routine fashion to make sure that it is safe. And because that routine is set in place, you know as the artist now that that's a thing that is happening every time. The show is the show, so you get to do, but we're also training like Okay, so say we have 8 to 10 shows a week. Okay, well, those 8 to 10 shows a week, we are also showing up early to rehearse and train. And then some of those days off, we are also going in early to rehearse and train. And then sometimes one of the artists leaves and they get married or something. You got to bring in another artist to do that act. Well, that takes time of teaching them the routine and forget about the decade of time that they even spent before they even got to the show to learn that technique or whatever that is. So there is time, dedication, rehearsal, repetition. I can't tell you how many times one of my circus coaches was, I would do a flip or something like this. He'd be great. Do it again. Do it again. I just did it. You want me? All right, I'll do it again. That was great, Mark. Do it again. Okay, I'll go to back of it. I mean, just repetition over until it's so in your body that it's like brushing your teeth. You don't have to think about it, right?
As we tell our kids, practice makes progress, right? It's critical.
You
And
may tell your kids that. I tell my kid, go to bed. Other than that,
Mark, performers are under immense pressure, both physically and emotionally, and sometimes things go wrong. How do performers stay grounded when they do?
some of the most important things that I think that Cirque du Soleil does really well, the one that I'm working for right now, is they make sure we have enough sleep, enough days off in the week where it's like you need to recover. These people are like athletes. They can only do this until they're maybe 30 or something because their bodies get older, they break down. So enough sleep. A. B, food. We have trained chefs that travel with us that don't just cook us delicious meals, but they also cook us meals that are fuel for these people's bodies. So you have sleep, you have food, and then we have people. They're like physical therapists that travel with us. So they take care of our bodies, massaging, electric stim, exercises when we get injured and things like this. I think if you have those three things that have a foundation that make sure that not only are they doing those things, but we know that you're doing those things. I know that this company has my best interest in mind, so I trust them that they're pulling the levers. Now, sometimes things go wrong, and that we are doing very dangerous things. And sometimes, very rarely, things do go wrong. And um, there is a quick response team that takes care of people when things go wrong. Luckily for clowns, usually when something goes wrong, it means people aren't laughing or they don't understand what you're doing, and you have to pivot and and adjust your jokes so they land. That's the worst thing that I have to worry about. But a the foundation, the pillars of making sure that things very rarely happen are the most important. And when they do happen, you respond very quickly, immediately. And that gives the level of trust that this company has my best interest.
The term work life balance comes to mind, and so many companies talk about that. It sounds like great performing organizations don't just talk about it, they deliver it.
That's right. I remember doing an off Broadway show with my buddies. We were called Happy Hour. And we did this one bit where we're traveling across the United States to be the next boy band sensation. And as we're doing this, remember, oh no, we don't have a count of eight of choreography. We need to learn some choreography. How are we going to do that? Oh, we're going to pick up a hitchhiker. And we look directly at someone in the audience. And usually my buddy Matt is the one that picks this person. And Matt goes and picks this person one show on off Broadway and picks him up. And as he's walking him up on stage, this man is walking with a giant limp. And then I'm just thinking in the back of my head, oh man, we're about to like make fun of this guy a little bit and have and he's got this giant limp. This is going to be horrible. All right, let's just keep going. We'll figure out a way out of this. And then we get to the point where, like, okay, now it's your turn to show us a count of 8 of choreography. And this guy leans up against the back wall, pulls up his pant leg, and pulls off his prosthetic leg and waves it in the air and starts and hops up and down. 2 minutes is a long time on stage. For 2 minutes, this guy did this, and the audience went bananas for this guy. And all we did was stand there and celebrate and in awe celebrate this guy. Look at this guy have the time of his life. And of course, later in the show, as he's back in the audience, we integrate that count of 8 that whatever the audience member did, and so we all pretend to whatever. Eh, I'm telling you, man, this was 20 years ago. I've never, and maybe an audience for off Broadway is like 150 people. I've never heard a louder audience since. They went bananas. A, that was not supposed to happen, and everybody knew that that was something special. B, it was celebrated. It wasn't like, oh, let's sweep that under the carpet. It was no. This is the greatest thing that's ever happened on stage ever. I'm convinced that not only am I remembering that for the rest of my life, but that entire 150 people in that audience is remembering that moment for their entire lives.
That story just gave me goosebumps. It makes me think about two things. One, you have to be prepared to pivot, and obviously you do that every single day. And number two, you need to build a unique experience for whoever you're supporting. If a salesperson is selling to everyone the exact same way, just focusing on a feature list, then they're probably not going to be very successful. But if they're building relationships with each customer and understanding that customer's pain points and what differs them from the other 10 people they're talking to that day, they might be able to address that pain point. Building that connection is critical.
And for me, that secret sauce of building that connection is the opportunity of failure. Because then you really push. It's not just a robot repeating the same thing that this has worked for me every single time that I've done this thing. No, you are going to say things in the moment that is personal to that one person. And because it's different from before, you have the potential of not selling that thing, right? Because it's different, but you have more of an opportunity of making a stronger connection with that person and having an unforgettable moment with that person. You may not even sell that day. You might even not sell 2 weeks from that day. But in a year, that person will go, oh, I remember Stephen Bear. I had a great conversation with him. Now I am going to spend $1 million on a thing.
Something I've always focused on in business is when something goes poorly, whether someone's spending $500 or $5 million, it's important to take ownership. Talk to them about where things went wrong, try to figure out how you can do better as a partner and build their trust. That builds a deeper relationship. I think some of our biggest clients that I've had over the years, after every single project, I do a postmortem. My team sits down with their team. We look at where things went really well. We looked at where things go really poorly too. So the next time we can be a little bit better and then better and better.
That's what I do after every single show I do. No matter if it's my one man show in front of 100 people to Cirque du Soleil in front of 3,000 people. After every single show, if it's myself, I'll reflect by myself, maybe write things down. If it's with partners, we'll talk about it. Hey, how'd you feel about this moment? How'd that go for you? Oh, I think maybe we should try. Every single show, I'm tweaking.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's why it's different. That's why it's unique. That's why when you're saying, how is it different? Well, that's how it's different. It's a living, breathing organism that is growing, and you have to nurture it or it will die.
Mark, what's the most important lesson that you try to instill on a new or rising performer, on their impact on the show, its culture, its people, the audience, the leadership, the success as a whole?
You can't do it by yourself. Because first of all, it's no fun to do it by yourself. You might as well just be in the closet by yourself and then not do anything or look in the mirror and say how, and you just can't do it by yourself. You need experts in the field that help you be better. I wish I learned that earlier, you know. Uh, but as soon as I did that, as soon as I really started listening, and I've been like, yeah, I got it. I can do this myself. As soon as I really started listening to the people, experts that are outside, that my work just felt much fuller, much more uh, gratifying as an artist, for sure.
Over the years, you've peeked into the corporate world through entertainment gigs. Are there best practices that the entertainment world does that you think other industries would benefit from prioritizing?
For me, I think people just want to feel seen, you know? And if people feel seen, then they feel comfortable and they do really great work. And then they want to they want to show up the next day. And the way to talk about that in the show business way is that, okay, if I'm on stage, those audience members want to be seen. And in the way that they're going to be seen is me as a clown. Some of those people just want to just watch. Don't come near me, clown. I just want to watch you do your thing. Great. I see you. I understand that's what you want. That's what I'm going to give you. Then there's other people that want a little bit more. Hey, I want eye contact. Okay. Eye contact. I see you guys. I'm going to include you in my conversation this way. Then there are other people that really want to have a conversation. Okay. I see you. I'm going to have, and then there's some people that want to come on stage. Okay. You see what I'm saying? Like the people are paying money to come have this experience. Each person has a different type of experience. My job is to figure out what those people individually want, make sure they want to be seen. I think that goes for sales people in particular, where if you can understand who you're selling to and let them be seen, oh, this is the kind of conversation when they want to have. I mean, you may not sell, but you're going to make a great relationship, and, and there's nothing wrong with just having a great relationship in sales.
Every single employee wants to feel seen, and they all have different needs. And it's critical to really think about how you can build relationships that are unique to who they are. What's going to get them excited? What's going to make them feel seen? What's going to make them feel safe? What's going to make them want to stay and contribute? These are all critical things. The way I look at it, our employees are our audience. There's a lot to be said for building a great team and celebrating them along the way and making them feel seen and making them feel heard and learning from them every single day. Mark, I really appreciate you joining me and providing a masterclass on stickology.
And there's your stickology.
That was a really fun conversation with Mark Gindick. Here are my 3 takeaways. Number 1, true collaboration is key. The best leaders, they don't try to do it themselves. They surround themselves with people who are experts in their own field. And they allow those individuals to have a voice and to contribute their own talents. Number 2, a diverse team creates a richer experience. A team with diverse backgrounds and experiences can connect more effectively to a wider audience. And number 3, embracing the unexpected builds trust and connection. While performers train rigorously to minimize mistakes, the best ones aren't afraid of things going wrong. In fact, a brilliant improv or unrehearsed moment can create an unforgettable experience for audiences, fostering a deeper connection and building more trust. This is a powerful lesson for all of us. Vulnerability and authenticity can be our greatest assets. Mark provided so much food for thought and so many actionable insights. I hope this conversation was as impactful for you, the listener, as it was for me.